Hello, and welcome to another episode of Wheel of Horror, the podcast where two best friends spin a wheel every day in the month of October and discuss a horror movie. Today we're talking about the 1999 film Lake Placid, which was directed by Steve Miner. I'm your co-host Alec,
I'm Erik.
and this is our first monster movie, I guess you could say. What do you think of Lake Placid, Erik?
How the hell did this get on the wheel?
You!
I know.
You!
No, I mean, this one's a throwback. It brings me back to when I was a kid. With Eisenberg, we were at Blockbuster and just begging my mom to rent it, and it was rated R. And I was like, Mom, it's just a crocodile. We're not scared of crocodiles. It's fine, Mom. It's fine. We had to be like 11 years old or so. It just throws me back to like 99, I guess.
Dude, yeah, actually, the picture you just painted is exactly what I think it is with these kind of movies in the late 90s and the early 2000s with like Deep Blue Sea and then this and Anaconda and like all of those like big crocodile and snakes and all that stuff. And these are the only R-rated movies my mom would take me to in theaters at the time.
Yeah, it's a good like way to be like, hey, I want my kid to like understand the world, and like this is a horror movie that he will be able to watch and not sleep with me because he's scared out of his mind.
I get it, because you show a kid Jurassic Park and you're like, okay, so this is like Jurassic Park, but they say fuck and you might see a boob and it's going to be a little more violent.
Yeah, it's definitely a ease into horror movies kind of movie.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen this movie, honestly, in 20 years. I probably saw it when I was like 10, and that was probably the last time I saw it.
I honestly saw this about 4 months ago.
Oh my God.
Late night TV. I was just up late and it was on. I was watching it, and then when we started the wheel, I just like, oh, we should definitely put Lake Placid on the wheel. And now I'm like, like I don't
Well, if you're
know.
if you're the one that wanted this on the wheel, what do you really think now that you
I
watched it?
guess I guess I was having more fun the first time I watched this 4 months ago, and now I'm like, it's definitely a '90s like B movie.
I think I'd prefer Anaconda, honestly.
Yeah, that'll be on the wheel next time, dude. It'll be on the wheel
Well,
next
actually,
time.
of all of them, Deep Blue Sea. But if you're gonna go with a shark movie, go with Jaws. But if you're gonna go with like a stupid movie that where the monster's gonna be killing people, that's like a big, huge version of something you're already afraid of, I'd go with Arachnophobia, man.
Arachnophobia. Yep. I think next wheel we should say Jaws. We should do Jaws.
Well, this movie took so much from Jaws. Oh my God. Oh,
I mean, the starting shot is just
yep.
a slow underwater cam.
Yeah,
You know.
it's exactly the same thing. But the one thing that is kind of cool about this is I think we've been watching so many horror movies that names are starting to stick with me when I see like production. And Steve Miner, I'm just like, I know that name. And I looked him up, and yeah, he directed Friday the 13th, the first one and the second one.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. There's a lot of legacy with
And
horror, going on.
Stan Winston came and did
Yep.
the crocodile effects for this.
Yeah. Totally. And the effects are pretty good for '99 and the budget. It had a pretty good budget, but
I will say that, yeah, the crocodile actually looks pretty good most of the time. They actually did a pretty good job with that.
it's definitely half prop, half computer CGI.
Yeah, but they do a good job of kind of like manipulating the camera enough to make it seem like, oh, that kind of looks real for a while. Like especially that shot, man, where that Hector guy is in the lake and he's just like slowly backing up to his helicopter. That looked pretty good.
They definitely have to have a prop for that shot. You know what I mean? That has to be a real physical thing
For sure, dude. Well,
to look. Yeah.
that final shot on the entire movie is the crocodile on that fat. Oh my God, flat
Flatbread pizza. Flatbread pizza.
on a flatbread pizza. Yeah, but it's being taken away in that flatbed truck, and you just see that thing is huge, fucking huge. It's
Yeah.
32 feet long is how long.
Imagine driving by that on the highway and being like, what is that? Like,
Oh,
and it's just a movie prop that looks really good. It's like, is that a real crocodile in Maine? We're also in Maine, right?
yes. So I always thought this took place in upstate New York when I was a kid, and
Well,
then
that's where the real Lake Placid is.
okay, yeah,
Yeah, there's a Lake Placid in New York, and this isn't even the lake isn't called Lake Placid. It's called Black Lake.
yeah.
In the movie, it's Black Lake, but they nickname it Lake Placid. And then Brendan Gleeson, the cop, says the line, "Oh, the other name, the Lake Placid, was already taken." It's like, what? Then call it Lake Black. I don't know why that got switched around
Yeah, that's
so
so
much.
stupid.
It's already confusing.
It's the same thing with Poltergeist. I'm like, you guys are in control here. You wrote the movie. You're shooting it. Like, just change the line to make it like you don't need to add this confusing thing for no reason.
I think Lake Placid just gives it better ring than Black Lake, I guess. Black Lake works
Dude,
just as fine.
Lake Black, and it's like, I'm looking at the poster right now, and it's like Lake Placid. If that said Lake Black, I'd be like, "Okay, that's just as good."
Same thing.
Yeah,
Same Lake Placid, Lake Black, same thing. I don't know. I don't know why they had to like add that loophole of like hurdle to jump through. It's like, okay, so it's not Lake Placid, it's Lake Black, but they call it Lake Placid anyway because it's a nickname.
yeah,
And the other name was taken in New York. It's like, oh, yeah, just call it Lake Black. Like, come on, or Lake Crocodile. Like, what the hell?
yeah,
Like,
I don't know.
Crocodile Lake. I don't know.
Well, they didn't know there's crocodiles there yet, but still, like, just call it whatever. But yeah, this wasn't even filmed in Maine, it was filmed in Vancouver.
Yeah,
I wanna know though, why the hell what Bill Pullman, like, you're too good for this, like, what are you doing?
yeah. Bill Pullman. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Him and
Independence Day, and then what are you doing?
I just like yeah, he's like a pretty good actor, it's just like, why are you slumming it, bro? And then, Brendan Gleeson too, the dude from Mad-Eyed Mooney or whatever?
Yeah, great actor. I think he played the perfect cop
Yeah.
for a main cop. I think they casted it pretty well.
Well, coming off
I
of
hate.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space, any cop looks good, but this guy, he says the line, where he's like, "Alright, there's crocodiles." I'm like, "Thank you. Thank you." Finally, he acknowledges that there's fucking something here.
Yeah, I liked his relationship with Hector. I thought that was a really funny spin and stuff. But I hated Bill Pullman and the
Dude,
paleontologist museum lady. I hated that
dude,
relationship.
Bridget Fonda is the most obnoxious character in this movie. Like, the whole from the second you meet her to the end, you're just like, "When is this?" I hate this character.
Yeah, they
Oh,
kind of like put her into like the woman in distress, kind of like she's never been camping, she's never done anything. She goes to Maine and now she's like this badass like crocodile woman. It's like
I
it's kind of a
no.
shitty narrative.
Dude, I feel like her character has, like, very little development. She's just like, "I'm getting away because my boyfriend was cheating on me, and now I'm just gonna stay up here and risk my life for no reason because I kind of have a crush on this cop now." I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I got that as well. I wish they. I mean, part of me is like, man, maybe they kind of went the serious route for this, and it felt like they wanted to keep it serious. They could have made this a funny movie instead, and like had way more fun with it in some
Started
ways.
gone, like, eight-legged freaks kinda route.
Well, no, like imagine like the guy who is bitten in half at the beginning, and he pulls him up, and he's
Yeah.
like on the boat, and he's about to say something, and he just dies. Imagine he like goes to say something, and he's like, "Am I gonna be okay?" It's like, "Nah, you're not gonna be okay." Like,
No, they weren't going for that kinda comedy horror. This was
what if they did? Would it be better?
I don't know.
I mean, it's kinda got that comedy vibe, like, with Betty White in it
Yeah.
and stuff. So you think, like, maybe if they just go a little further with the comedy, it'd be more of a better movie and just, like, stupider, I guess? I don't know. That's
Yeah.
just my
I mean,
take.
Bill Pullman isn't very good in this either. Like, he's just kind of very bland, just hero type, and the same thing with the Bridget Fonda character.
Bill Pullman says "ma'am" a lot. He's like, "What do you mean, ma'am? What do you need, ma'am?" Like, it's
Yeah.
like, "Alright, stop calling me ma'am." It's like, "Oh
But
god."
the characters, that's the thing, they're so blah that, like, even if it was, like, funny, I wonder if it would make it better. I don't know, man. I mean, it's a rough one. 'Cause the other thing is the characters you're getting introduced to, there's, like nobody dies, so there's nothing to care. All the
Really? Right, yeah.
everyone who gets killed is, like, just these
A
random
deputy, like a random deputy, and
yeah, so you're like, "Alright, I don't really care about these." I mean, like, you don't wanna see people get killed, but you're like, "There's no pressure here because no one's getting hurt."
yeah.
I wanna kinda talk about Oliver Platt, that his character a little bit, the fat guy that swims with the crocodiles.
Hector Sear.
Yeah, man. Like, how did he find them?
So it sounds like he's like a multimillionaire, super rich, and his obsession is crocodiles and swimming with them. He believes that they're mythological creatures, and they say this line where crocodiles have been worshipped for thousands of years before the Bible. And I'm like, reaches, okay,
I never thought of it like that though, but they do talk about, like, ancient, the crocodiles of the Nile and stuff, and you're like, "Oh, yeah."
yeah. I mean, sure, but
I mean, sure.
I mean they also worship like scarabs and shit like that. So
How do you
and
think
like
this crocodile got here?
cats. Well, they kind of start with like, okay, the crocodile can easily swim up the Atlantic Ocean and make its way in, and there's an entry from Lake Placid to the Atlantic Ocean. It's like, okay, but crocodiles don't really swim in salt water. It's like, well, this one probably did.
But
It's like, okay,
there's no crocodiles in North
right.
America.
Right, but then they add a layer onto it where they're like, oh, that due to its scaling and its color, it's an Asian Pacific crocodile.
Right.
So you're telling me So you're telling me this crocodile swam, I'm guessing, across the Pacific Ocean, or they made a joke, someone maybe flushed it down the toilet, which is another movie called Alligator in 1980. The movie is about an alligator that gets flushed down the toilet and eats sewage and becomes this giant alligator and terrorizes a carnival or town or something. I haven't seen that movie in 20 years, but so this crocodile is supposed to go across the Pacific Ocean and then across the continental U.S. to Maine. How?
Yeah, I don't know, and again, I'm looking a little bit here. There's about 6 sequels to this fucking movie, and,
Yeah.
I don't know if they already did this, but I was watching it and I was like, "You know, would it be kinda cool if they did a prequel where there's, like, a boat version of this, where it's like a cruise ship, not a cruise ship, well, maybe a cruise ship, but a cruise ship or, like, a shipping container ship that's coming from
Mhm.
Asia to here, and this crocodile sneaks on and kills
Yeah.
the crew members, and the boat crashes, and then the crocodile swims from wherever the boat crash is to there."
I got a better idea, I
Oh!
think. I like this think. So they also say that the crocodile is at least 150 years old. So I would say, like, let's say the crocodile got to full size around 50 years old. So 100 years ago, you go back and there was a circus in town with the greatest, biggest crocodile in the world, and they have like one of those, like, you go in like to a circus and you see like, oh, the bearded lady, and then you got the giant crocodile and it escapes 100 years ago and no one knows what happened to it, and then it ends up in this lake somehow.
Ooh, that's a good
You
idea.
like that idea?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and no one knows what happened, and they do research, and like there was a circus that an alligator, a crocodile from Asia got out, and it's like they would be over 150 years old, and it's like that's how long crocodiles live for. The crocodiles are actually fascinating because they don't actually have a lifespan. They could live forever, essentially.
What?
Google that, dude. It'll blow your mind how crocodiles can live forever. They only die by eating themselves to death, essentially.
Like, get too fat? What do you mean?
They can regenerate. They like their cells regenerate differently. They apparently crocodiles and alligators have the cure to cancer and the cure to everything. There's been studies done. Like they have the cure to longevity.
He does say that one line where he's just like he basically saying that they're like dragons, like they're
Yeah.
these like the spawn of or the whatever of dragons, and he's looking in their eyes, and he does say that one line is like, "You're different," like sort of thing. I wonder that really like your idea. I think that'd be cool. Like they maybe have like a reptile house, and they have these alligators or whatever, and they're like, "Look, we got this new one."
And it's from the Asian
Yeah,
Pacific. It's from Asia, let's say,
yeah,
or
like
the Nile. It's from the Nile. Who
they're
knows?
a traveling freak show or whatever, traveling circus back, yeah, in like the late 1800s, and they find all these crocodiles, I mean, all these alligators, and then they find this one crocodile. They're like, this one's different, it's bigger, and it starts eating the baby. Oh, dude, what are we doing? Let's
Yeah.
go to Lake
Yeah, no,
Placid.
what are we doing, Lake Placid? You know?
We could look. We just wrote a prequel for you, Lake Placid. I hope it's
Boom.
not real.
Yeah. Well, that could be a cool way to explain why the hell an Asian crocodile is in Maine. They don't explain it. They just say maybe someone flushed it down the toilet, which is a joke to the movie Alligator
Yeah.
from
Well,
1980.
there was a lot of stuff. I mean, it still kind of still happens in like Florida and stuff where people find like pythons coming out of
Oh,
stuff.
dude, Burmese pythons. Oh man, I went down a rabbit hole one night reading about Burmese pythons, and it's literally people have these pythons as pets, and they get too big, and they release them in the wild, and man, those things have messed up the whole entire ecosystem down in Florida.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah, because pythons aren't native to there, and they eat alligators. They literally will eat
Hmm.
alligators in the Florida Everglades, and the entire ecosystem, you're right, has been completely demolished.
Shattered. Yeah, I think it's something like 40% of the like mammal wildlife population has been eradicated because of these Burmese
Well,
pythons, and it's terrifying what they can do.
this movie kind of is like that. It's like you take something that's not supposed to be there and you introduce it, and then it starts eating everything, and it takes
Yeah.
over.
Yeah. Two takeaways. If anyone's listening and wants to go down a rabbit hole, look up Burmese pythons and the problems they are causing in Florida, New Orleans, and up. They're moving up the coast too, so they could end up in Maine someday. That's one thing to look up, but also look up the lifespan of crocodiles and alligators and just fascinating yourself because like it's so interesting to hear like they technically don't have a lifespan. They could live forever. It's crazy facts. It's insane.
Well, we haven't seen the sequels. I actually didn't even realize there were so many, but this or this crocodile doesn't die at the end of this one, so maybe it's the one that's just in all of them.
I have seen, I think on Sci-Fi Channel, late night, Lake Placid versus Anaconda, or Anaconda versus Lake Placid. And I guess who's in that one?
Who?
I'll give you one guess.
Tara Reid.
I think she's in Sharknado. Robert Englund,
Uh,
Freddy Krueger's in. He's like the hunter who like helps.
well,
And that they make those movies like really dumb, like more like D movies, C movies, like where it's just supposed to be fun, and it's just like this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
yeah, I mean, they look like they're all straight to DVD and, like, straight to sci-fi and stuff. I had no idea that they even existed. But, yeah, Lake Placid versus Anaconda, there was the final chapter. I like how they're just pulling
They made multiple.
they made Lake Placid 2, Lake Placid 3, Lake Placid: The Final Chapter, Lake Placid versus Anaconda, Lake Placid Legacy, and there's 2 video games.
If you ever think, anyone listening, that your dreams can't come true, if you think nothing's gonna happen, my dreams won't, just look at Lake Placid and what they've done.
Yeah. No,
Just like
seriously.
it's
Seriously,
anything can happen.
yeah, I mean, if they're just like you're like, "Hey, man, like, this is such a stupid crocodile movie," and then all of a
10
sudden
se 10 sequels.
but that's the thing, even when they're making Lake Placid in '99, there's nothing until 2007, and then 2010, and then 2012, and then 2015, and then it just takes off from there. So, even when they're making this, they're like, "This is so dumb," and then it just people will watch anything.
Yeah.
I need to
Just
know. Lake Placid Legacy came out 2 years ago. I need to
oh my
know.
god. It's like almost like there's the line, there's always a bigger fish. It's like there's always a dumber fish. That's how I feel with these movies.
That's how we've gotten, yeah, because it goes like Piranha and Sharknado and like
Oh
Meg
man.
and all this
Ugh.
stuff. You're just like, "What are we" like Jaws was so scary because you're like, "This could happen."
It's based off of a New Jersey rogue shark
Yeah,
that did kill people in like fresh water, and I think it was a bull shark, and it's also based off of the largest great white ever caught in by like Block Island.
sure, and that's the thing, that's why it kinda makes sense, and that's why even this no, this movie what am I trying to say? No, this movie's fucking ridiculous. This
It's a nod to the movie Alligator from 1980,
I
and also Anaconda just did so well. So
that's I seriously feel like that was it. It's like Anaconda was a surprise hit, and they're just like, "Ah, do you wanna just get a couple actors that are, like, not doing much right now?" Like Bridget Fonda, I don't know, Bill Pullman, sure, yeah, let's just make another Anaconda, basically.
Betty White,
She's
Betty White signed up.
I like her in
She's
this.
she's great in it. She's the whole reason why the crocodile is living.
Yeah, and I get it, it's
So
small
big.
town Maine, like, sure, but you're gonna tell me that when she openly admits to murdering her husband, that they're not gonna be like, "Betty, like, listen, we gotta take you in. Like, we gotta this"
She was obviously joking with that, like hitting her husband with the pan and like dig up his body if she was joking because she just wanted to get him off their trail. But really, he was killed by the crocodile because one of their like prized horses got out and he went to save it, and the crocodile ate both him and I would assume the horse.
Okay, maybe I was just watching this like, "This is I can't, this is so dumb."
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with, dude. They say like multiple things, like, "Oh, I hit my head with the skillet and he died. I buried him in the backyard. If you want to dig him up," and then they see her feeding the cows and cattle to the crocodile, and then she tells them the truth of like it was an accident. The crocodile didn't mean to kill my husband, and it's
Sure.
like, what, Betty White? What are you doing?
Okay, they pretend like this crocodile they're like, "We need to save it for research." It's like, "What? Kill this thing."
I mean, that is a miracle that that thing is in Maine. So
Whoop-de-doo.
there's no explanation for it. So that's why you got to research that thing.
Ah,
But I think circus or something let it out in the wild by accident. It could have been 100 years ago. So that's where the idea I have of I don't know, the hell,
there's no there's just no justification.
The only justification, Alec, is that Anaconda did good in theaters and they wanted to make more money. That's the only justification.
That really is that. I feel like they're like, "Listen, like, we killed a crocodile." It's like, "Hold your horses, screenwriter. We need sequel opportunities here. What are you doing?" It's just like, but it doesn't make sense to the plot. You're like, What's the plot? The plot doesn't matter. This needs to make money and have all the
Listen,
other
if
people."
this makes money 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, we're going to make Lake Placid first, the damn Anaconda. It's like, that is never going to happen. Guess what? There's like four of them.
We're not it's not out of the realm of possibility that there will be an Anaconda versus Lake Placid 2 with Jennifer Lopez, Ice Cube, Bill Pullman, and Bridget Fonda. We're not that far.
John Voight comes back. Like,
He's got one eye and he's just, like, melted, like, "I told you I did that." These movies, man, I guess they're good for kids, I guess, because it's so stupid and, it's not that scary.
oh yeah, no, I enjoyed it a lot when I was a kid. It's so stupid.
Gotta give it to Deep
Sorry,
Blue Sea, though. If I'm going with a movie like this or Anaconda or any of these, like, stupid, over the top kinda, like I'm going Deep Blue Sea.
how much older is Deep Blue Sea? Is that around the
Yeah.
same time?
Same year.
Same year. Yeah, there you go, man. That's all about the monster. sea creatures again.
Yeah.
I love the line with Bill Pullman when he overhears Bridget Fonda go, like, "Oh, we're camping. Are you guys like a bunch of Deliverance folks?" And like Bill Pullman overhears her like say like the Deliverance line, like, "Are you calling me? Do I look like someone from Deliverance? Like I'm Bill Pullman."
Dude,
Like,
I thought the same exact thing, and it also reminded me of when because we just watched, Blair Witch Project, like, last week. They make a Deliverance line too, and I'm like, "Yo, that movie really messed people up, dude. That movie came out in
yeah,
'72, and they're still talking
it
about it."
did. It did, dude. It did. That movie was real culture shock for people, like realizing that there's people out there that are crazy like that.
I know, but for 2 movies I mean, obviously, we're watching a lot of horror movies here, but a lot of movies are referencing Deliverance, and, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah, but yeah, you're right. Bill Pullman, you're like, "This is, like, one of the best looking actors." Like, what are we talking about
And
here?
like, do I look like I'm some I was in Independence Day. Like I was to play the president. Does that like tie into Deliverance at all? Maybe Burt Reynolds in Deliverance, but not wood people. I don't know what would you call the Deliverance people?
Yeah,
Swamp people, I
I don't know,
guess.
inbred assholes. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, Bridget Fonda, man, her character when she slaps the cop in the face for pulling out the moose head, and I'm like, are you who do you think you are?"
Yeah,
I couldn't believe that. I'm like, she literally it's like they're like, "Oh, what is this?" And he just drops on the bone, she's slapping, "I'm getting all these heads thrown at me." I'm like, "Oh my god."
yeah. It feels she just feels like forced into it. It's like I'm part of this team. It's like no, you were here to check out a tooth and tell us where it came from. How the hell you're with us right now doesn't add up.
She's a liability. She's like a legal liability.
And also, I mean, what paleontologist museum group has enough money to pay for someone to take a private plane from New York to Maine? The beginning shot, she gets flown into this Lake Placid or Lake Black, and she's in a private plane. I'm like, what museum paleontologist group has all this money to do this?
That's the thing. I think it's for kids, man, because anybody our age watching it is gonna be like, "That would never happen." And then you get that, like, really, really hot girl that walks out of there, and she's like, "I heard there's a crocodile." That girl doesn't exist in a small town in Maine. That's just not a thing. So, like, when you're watching
Yeah,
as a kid, you're like, "This is cool. I like this." And there's a crocodile, and it's biting off people's heads. But now we're watching, we're just like, "This is so stupid."
yeah, yeah. I mean, it is a Maine movie. Do you think Stephen King's like, hey, Maine's my turf. Get away from Maine. Like,
I'm sure he's like, "Go for it, guys."
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I think it'd be better for him to be like, "You know what? You guys try a Maine movie and see if you can do it better." And then obviously it's not as good. So you can be like, "Okay, so Stephen King is the reigning champ." He was challenged and then it was over. Let's say that you are in Bridget Fonda's shoes, Eric. Let's say that you're working at a museum, you're dating an older lady, she then
Mm,
starts sleeping with your best friend, and then you're like, "Wow, what
mhm.
do I got to get out of New York now." So then you have to go find a tooth. What do? You find the tooth and then what?
Bill Pullman, I gotta have my Bill Pullman character.
So you would sleep with the attractive sheriff? You'd be like, I don't care about the risks."
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, I mean, yeah, dude, it's totally crazy to think that goes down the way it does. But I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I don't think I would accept to get flown out to Maine to if there's a crocodile out there. I'd be like, can we find out more first? Because I feel like A, it would be a total waste of time.
Well, I gotta give it to the cop though, dude, for getting on the fucking lake again after he sees that guy get chewed in half, and he's like, "I'll go out tomorrow, sure."
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, let me go in this dinky canoe. That
Yeah.
that that adds
The
up.
canoe, he's like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I was on a nice boat yesterday, and this thing completely almost killed me, but yeah, yeah, well, let's get on an
Let's
even shittier boat."
let's go paddling. Let's go paddling in a shitty like wooden canoe.
Yeah, man, and then when the boat gets flipped and they're like, "It's fine, let's get on the water again." I
Yeah.
just yeah. The whole ending scene, like, that whole showdown or whatever where the crocodile gets his head stuck in the helicopter, which is like, they didn't even do that.
Yeah, yeah, it just got stuck and then they trinked it to shit. And then there's another one. The crocodile's mate was out there.
I like
And
that.
then that alludes to like Betty White feeding the little baby crocodiles at the end of the movie with breadcrumbs.
Dude, I for 1 second, I was like, "I'm gonna shut this off," is when I didn't know it was the second crocodile at first, and I was like, "If that fucking thing got out that fast and none of them were on it and it attacked him," I'm like, "I'm shutting this off right now." And then they
It's like,
say
all
it's another one, I was like, "Okay." But then they shoot the other one like it's nothing,
right.
and they're like, "We gotta protect these things." And then another one comes up like, "Fuck that one though."
Well, yeah, it was kind of like we got to save the croc, and they always thought there was one croc, and now there's two, and then Brendan Gleeson blows it up, and he's like, back to one.
Ugh. Yeah, it's all
Dude,
about, "We need to protect and learn from this thing." It's like, "What about that
he's
one?"
like,
It's like, "Shoot that one in the face." But this one,
and boom, blows up like crazy.
yeah, now there's all the baby ones, and I gotta say, as stupid as this is, and I feel bad because 'cause I've been shitting on, like, Killer Clowns and then this, we've been getting a lot of, not the best ones in a row, but I gotta say, they did set this up pretty nicely for a few sequels with the baby ones and then having the other one be taken away, not dead on that flatbread, like, flatbed,
Flatbread pizza,
flatbed, but being taken away
flatbread from Subway.
but being taken away on that, like, yeah, that's pretty cool, and I hope I never see Bill Pullman or Bridget Fonda ever again.
Probably not. Probably not. The music is so forgettable in this movie, right? The theme. I don't even remember what it was. I'm trying to think about it.
I remember paying attention to it. It's very, just
It's like middle school band class music.
just thriller-ish, just like a guy being like, "I imagine a crocodile's coming. Alright, let's get the strings going." Sort
Dun, 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 dun.
yeah, not anything memorable. It's kind of
But then Betty White feeding the crocs at the end. It's Bob Marley. Like it's like, why is she feeding crocs to Bob Marley and the Wailers?
you know what the best thing I took from this is now I know a line from a Bob Marley song I didn't know because I had the subtitles on. That's the best thing I
What was the line?
it's like
I wanna love you
no, yeah,
and treat you right.
the line is, "And Jah provides the bread." I did not know.
Oh, she's feeding him bread. Yeah, there you go.
But I didn't know that was the line. I didn't know because I was always like, "What is he saying there?" And it's Jah provides the bread, and I'm like, "Oh, so now I know."
So Betty White is Ja, and she's providing crocodiles bread. That actually now that makes sense why they picked that song. Because I'm like, why the hell is Bob Marley have anything to do with crocodiles? Have anything to do with Maine? Have anything to do with Betty White? I'm like, bizarre. But I guess the bread line is what did it.
I would do anything if Steve Miner's listening to this and he's like, "They fucking figured it out. They fucking figured it out. Those cheeky bastards with their
Ugh.
wheel and their horror podcast.
It's like they did it.
They
It's like, oh man, they really did a great analysis cut by cut. And man, that circus idea that one guy came up with is fantastic.
seriously,
Print it, send it to sci-fi.
they just someone knocks on the door like, "Listen, you came up with a genuinely decent idea for a prequel. You figured out the little musical number that we hid in there. Here's a check for $50,000, guys. You're in."
If only, dude. If only. That's why we do this wheel, you know?
That's why we do this because 'cause we're trying to get a Lake Placid deal, you know?
Or a flatbread Subway pizza sponsorship. One of the things. I don't know. What would be the worst thing this gets sponsored by? Like Dayquil.
No, I think Dayquil helps people. I don't know. Monsanto or something like that.
All right, welcome to the Wheel of Horror podcast, sponsored by Pepto Bismol. If you're getting scared and your stomach's all nervous, just drink some Pepto while watching a horror movie.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, there you go.
Alright. Well, Lake Placid, fun movie, especially if it's a late night and you're drunk, you might enjoy it.
Yeah, if you're like yeah, that was me 3 months ago watching this, 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Classic.
Well,
Love it though.
what do you say you spin that wheel, Eric?
Let's do it. Let's spin the wheel, dude. Let's have fun. Let's have fun. Hopefully you get a good one. Not that this wasn't a good one.
I
1999.
I'm hoping for a good one this time. Like, I mean, stinkers in a row.
99 can do no wrong, except like Lake Placid. That's about it. All right, spinning. Ooh, got a good one, Alec. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Finally. Alright.
That's a winner. That's a winner.
I'm glad it's still the daytime so I can watch this while the sun's up.
And we also have a special guest lined up for that one. That would be Joey Toluto coming in hot to help out. He loves that movie. You know, he'll talk. Yeah, he'll have a lot to talk about.
I'm so excited to have Joey on here. All right, perfect.
Not looking forward to watching that one, dude. It's scary. It's scary.
Yeah, you got to take a shower after that one. All right, I'm gonna call Joey now. We'll get him on, and we will see you all tomorrow. Thanks for listening in, everybody.
Oh yeah, thanks everyone.
Let Jah provide the bread.